the same thing. You started looking through, and then it's almost like Oakland had the exact opposite strategy of a lot of teams, and it seems like when you see a team like Northwood come along and they're so down, players are aware of how good they are, but then they almost turtle up. They're like, I'm going to play really cautious, and then they can't capitalize. But that's exactly what teams want, and that's what gets them in trouble. So teams like Stockton, teams like Oakland, teams that can take a chip out of Northwood, get some wins, it's because they are just going immediately for all these challenges, just showing them no respect. And it shows that even with these super teams within the league, East is still super tight in terms of skill level, just about the execution on that game plan.
Well, speaking of Stockton, we did mention them. They will be our first matchup of the day, going against all two teams that, I mean, we look at Stockton, if I remember correctly, I think they came from the Open League, and coming from the position that they were in, coming in and still being in the winner's side all the way to qualify, or having a chance to qualify for the championship round. I mean, guys, like, for our first match, I think it's an absolute banger that we're going to be treated to. And I'm quite slow to see Stockton making this far. So, just give your thoughts on this one.
This gives me flashbacks to Ohio State all the way back to season 1-0. I say this basically every stream, I feel like, when I harken back to Ohio State from season 1. It's the same deal, right? Stockton coming from the Open, I mean, they have an incredible roster. As Taco mentioned, we'll probably talk about this when we get more nutrition later here. But Top Cheese, Dark and Fuzzy, that is just a banger roster. Like, you could not ask for a more explosive team of 3. And then on the other side, Tony Stokely and Pros, definitely some power there for Seton Hall, and definitely a good kind of rookie season win. We have seen Stokely compete there as that kind of leader with that experience from the top level of play. But I just don't know if it's going to be enough to take on Stockton. It's a real Cinderella story. All at that, as I mentioned, Top Cheese, Dark and Fuzzy, you could hardly call that like lesser thing. Stockton's definitely been on top 4. This is just kind of really trying to work for them. I'm glad to see it, but I fear it's going to come at the cost of some really good-looking rookies.
I mean, I remember because I was on broadcast for when Stockton was coming through, and they had this incredible overtime goal that was almost made entirely by Dark, and Top Cheese as well. It's just playing so well for that team. They really seem to be getting into that comfort zone. We will be getting to the match shortly, it seems like. But Taco, looking at this matchup, I see Hall absolutely no slouch, and they've absolutely deserved their spot in this bracket so far. But how do you feel they might? How do you feel they might fare up against a team with so much momentum like Stockton?
I think the main thing with Seton Hall that I'm looking for is actually fixing the mistakes that I was able to be on the broadcast for their game against Akron earlier on. And of course, Akron is kind of a showing of why the East is so tumultuous this season. The season before, in the spring semester, they are the champions. They're the national champions. Akron's doing Akron things. Even though Northwood's coming along here, still not getting off the mountain. And they struggled in summer series. They got 4 series losses, and it's looking a little shaky. And you're thinking, okay, well, Seton Hall is actually a pretty up-and-coming team. Maybe they're going to get the win here. I was actually a little optimistic. I was thinking they might be able to take it. And then Akron just completely bulldozes through them. And a lot of it is just because Seton Hall is panicking on transition. They're hitting the ball downfield. And I think if they fix that, they're a team that can do a lot of damage. You don't win 80% of your games within league play by playing poorly all the time. It's just that when pressure's on, you have to make sure you execute. And throwing the ball downfield, panicking on these infield passes, and just playing in a frantic manner isn't gonna cut it, because you're playing against the best teams in the nation across the field, and you need to be able to consolidate possession, not throw things away. And I think sometimes Seton Hall struggles with that. If they can fix that, I think this is a fantastic matchup. If they don't, then we might be in first place.
I definitely do agree. I mean, Seton Hall, definitely a team that really wants to see them perform, and hopefully against a team with so much momentum, they will just give it a really good series. But I mean, Thunder B, we're going to look at this, and before we get to predictions, I really want your opinion on whether or not, typical player highlights that we might see. Do you see any players that we should be watching out for on either these squads, or perhaps, kind of strategies going in both these teams might want to implement?
I think it's interesting here because that what Taco was talking about with having a little bit of disrespect for the very top teams, that's not going to be as much a factor here because you have two teams that are both, I guess you could say, punching upwards a little bit in the position that they might be in this bracket. So I think you can throw that off the table. Both of them are going to come into this series really, really hot. So I think any coming with a mentality and an expectation that there's not really going to be that feeling out period at the beginning of a match here. They need to play quickly right away because they're both equally hungry to be a team that comes from underneath and defies expectations. It makes for a great matchup, I will say.
I totally agree, and of course, I mean, if you win this, you're in the winners finals, and you have the chance of going against Akron or St. Clair. Even if you do lose that point, you are still making it, I believe, to losers semis, if I remember correctly, or it's still pretty high in the bracket, so you're still given a lot of opportunity to work. But before we get into our match, we're just waiting for lobby to be set up, guys. I got Hound you for some predictions. Now, I don't have to give my prediction because, of course, we want odd number predictions. We want to be able to have a decisive yes count. So, let's wait. Let's start.
My first prediction is that you're gonna give your prediction. That's my first prediction. That was cool. Well, just gonna throw that one out there. You can't get out of this one. I'm not gonna let you get out of this one. All right. Look, all right. I'm gonna be somewhat controversial. All right. I'm gonna say even to back that point up. I feel like this is gonna be the easiest prediction of the night. All right. Sorry. I'm saying it. I don't need to be there. I got Larry here just in case this does go south. It probably will. But I'm gonna be honest. Stockton's gonna come out. They're gonna have a block 5 on. I don't really feel that Seton Hall is going to be a chance. What with it being one of their first times in one of these big spots, it might be the pressure that forms the diamond. I highly doubt it for the scenario. As Taco said earlier on, there have been a lot of times where we've seen the crack, and with Stockton being able to take down that is just mountains of momentum. I cannot see it happening here. Seton Hall, I'll give it 4.
Well, I will give my prediction at the end. Okay. Just relax, good, okay. But talk, let's go to you.
See you guys. They say peer pressure doesn't work or shouldn't work. Right there, we just completely bullied Slim into prediction. It's flawless for us. But what I would like to see is a very close series. I think if Seton Hall can tighten up all those issues, kind of those loose screws popping off the ship there against Akron, I think we can get this series over. I watched the replays of Stockton Road, and they're looking fierce. I think this is a team that is terrifying, and the fact that they've been qualified and no one in the Summer Series really has experience playing against them gives them that weird wild card feel to them, on top of the fact that just watching them in other competitions, they're incredibly fast, they're so decisive, and they're just all the time to bring it, they're going to go down. I don't know if Seton Hall really has that. I would love for them to prove me wrong, but at least win a long series. I'm going to give Seton Hall maybe a win, but really I don't see Stockton takes it.
Right, that is interesting analysis there. Thunder B, I mean, we have 2 Stockton picks so far. Are you going to break the mold here, or are you going to be a loser and just stick with
Wow. That's a pretty heavy accusation.
Wow. Thank you, Seth, for prefacing my pick with that. I love going into it that way.
He accepted the right? Those are who actually put the stock.
Well, I'm glad to say that. I'm glad to say that's good because on the desk there's the temptation with each successive pick that goes the same way. You want to be that person that just says, you know what, I'm throwing caution to the wind, or whatever expression they use, and they just go the other way. I think it's just that temptation. I'm going Stockton too. I think it's going to be a little bit closer than these other fine folks have called. I think it goes to 6 games, but I still see Stockton taking this one, and Seb, that puts even more pressure, happily, on you.
Well, Rush makes diamonds, and I like throwing caution to the wind as if that hasn't thrown so many of my predictions in the past. I would go Seton Hall 4-1, and I think storylines suck, and Seton Hall is just going to roll through, and then we're going to go to the winners finals where they lose to St. Clair, and we're just going to win the whole thing. So,
of course, this wraps up in a Canadian prediction.
Yes, of course. So, Seton Hall 4-1 for me, but I mean, guys, we are just about ready to get going with our first match of the day. I got a full pot of coffee here that I'm really ready to pour because we have 6 matches ahead of us with that pasta cheese.
Thank you so much, Seb, and it's going to be with you in the booth for this game because we were looking at the bracket before today and we're thinking, wow, these are some fantastic matches. We get to start off the day, but it's also the fun part about playoff is that these matchups keep going on. They're all fantastic. So really, everyone in the audience and in the chat should get hyped because you're about to see the top tier of college carnival, especially if you buy into the fact that East is the strongest it's ever been for collegiate football.
Well, and evidenced by the fact that we're still seeing upsets this late. Even now, we're seeing teams that are making miraculous runs and getting through. So the competitiveness of the East is pretty obvious here. And to circle back to what Seth said for a moment, he said pressure makes diamonds, right? Is that an admittance of rank in the game? I felt like it was kind of disguised in there, is that he can't handle pressure that way, he can't get above diamond. But maybe we'll have to ask him about that later. But right now, there's Menchie's revving up top right. We've got gameplay to dive into here. Between Stockton and Seton Hall, pretty heavily weighted towards Stockton on the old desk. Not least of which in game count, nobody said it was going to go the distance here. And obviously, Rocket League fans all want to see it go that way. But I think you and I probably share in the fact that it's going to be up to Seton Hall to see that through.
Certainly will, and they got 7 games potentially to pull this one out. Oh, they still got a second life, but of course, you don't want to give up your first loss so early on in the playoff bracket, but we are underway with Stockton and Seton Hall. It's all about that midfield pressure, and I think we'll have to see game 1 is more of a feeling out game, or if it's just going to go guns a-blazing, and we'll see what happens. Early shot, first out of the game from Top G, just a little bit of a roller right down the middle, so Pros try and answer back with some long balls, and right now both teams opting for a little bit more vertical play, just hitting it downfield, just trying to, I guess, really test out the defense so far, which is always a clean strategy, especially when you can get close shaves. Tone not quite able to wrangle around that shot.
Not quite, but you're right, they're testing, and they're poking and prodding here to see what might show up in the early stages of this match, and it's at times been a bit of a slow pace. The Ace has dived down in the corners and even in the middle of the field in front of the net, but no one has flinched quite yet. We're still scoreless out of the corner here. A bit of confusion, though, might result in a goal. That's a quick save having to be made. Shot placement a bit wanting on that one. This is still good control here in the corner for Stockton as they try to press just that little bit further. Top Cheese, an aerial attempt, has the flip to work with and saved away by Tone. And you can feel the pace starting to pick up, although for Seton Hall, they need to respond in kind here.
Yeah, they're dealing with pressure pretty well so far. I would say I'm not disappointed by the effort that I'm seeing. I would like to see them get a little bit cleaner of clears, be able to get some boosts. Most of the time when with ball, you want to get upfield, you want to press the issue, but sometimes it's easier just to clear, then get boost up, then rejoin the attack. You can't just get too impulsive, and at least it's like someone's taking that advice, getting some double taps. However, third man going all the way back, so back and forth we go. Still looking for that first goal, and giveaways like that could be an issue. However, Dark and Tone just getting a nice 15. It's going to go all the way back and down.
We've seen a few of those challenges go pretty heavily one way or the other. No punish is coming through quite yet. This is Seton Hall coming back the other way now along the sidewall. Top Cheese, more boost in that standoff. They've got a ground pinch to work with. Tone's got the save on that one again.
Creativity starts with what ifs. Like, what if there's
Fly Audible and travel the world. Listen up and settle back with thousands of destinations to explore. Whether it's an epic stay beyond the wall, long haul to Mars, a trip to Hogwarts, or ancient Greece, we'll get you there in style. There's another way to get away.
Skindu here beaten out by Bussy. And the long clear is certainly not the recipe, I don't think, for either team, but that's a big open opportunity. And the pass comes out from the side. Top G's there to receive and take the lead.
Stokely trying to get a little too cute with this one. Instead of catching it, bringing it back, or letting a teammate come through, tries to cut it upfield. Unfortunately, Sakna's right there to meet it and out to the midfield. But to have the vision to pick out Top Cheese in the beginning, great communication, stuff like that, and that makes all the difference. 1-0, almost 2-0 going to Stockton here in the...
I don't know if I can do this. God.
Risking your life on some second-rate dog.
Or I'll just pad in and fucking land on them and die again, like every time.
Oh, we don't have that fight this time, so we're chilling.
Careful. No kill leader.
It was the Rick and Morty's video, dude.
Oh my god, it was. What? Oh, it's a Fireflies, bro. It's actually
actually have my
annoying.
Indian setting.
Not last inside the top 5 towards the end.
All I know, there's one trio that's rooting against them, and that's Savage's trio. They do not want to see Malibu cut in the finals. Bad Sniper here, they're being their neighbor. T Cammy and Set making their move. As we're getting the calm of the lobby making their position. Scenic Point has a couple of trios up there. You got Leo making a rotation on the backside near Blue Bridge. Cammy's hitting T, gliding over into the safe zone. But this is going to be, hey, the Zayt Hill is always infamous for having some wild finishes, and it's dead center here in Zone 4.
Bobby taking a few shots, 102 points. They'll be in the conversation now in terms of fighting towards that top 5, that top 3 as well. Versa and Fly, they've kind of been in between some of these top teams over and over, taken out slightly early, but 4th and 9th today. Other teams were taken out slightly earlier. They've had a lot of elims though in these games they make placement in, so if these guys make endgame, assume that they'll get a lot of those knocks.
Versa just got a knock on Milwaukee. This team in the previous qualifiers in round 4 came in 19th place